Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Transylvania County. We're glad to see all of you here today taking a chance about the air conditioning and everything. We do have it. If there are any visitors here today, please stay for the coffee hour afterwards so you can get to know some of us. We're an open, welcoming congregation. Everybody is welcome here. I have one big announcement. Kevin, do you want to talk about that? The children's,
Good morning. This is just to let you know that the second camp UUTC hosts in the summer is coming up, not this coming week, but the next July 28th to August 1. And it's called Adulting 101 Teen Life Skills Camp. And it's a camp designed to help teens gain needed life skills through a hands-on, interactive, fun manner so they can learn things such as just checking the fluids of their car and how to change a tire. We take tires off and put them back on. They do some hands-on work with learning basic tools, and good folks like Jim Hardy and Bruce Tuxhorn will be helping us with that. We also do financial information for them, how to stay away from credit cards, how to open a checking account, the power of a little bit of money in the bank with interest gaining on it. And we even do sexual health and education and cooking and how to make a inexpensive but yummy meal. Alice Hardy, if she's here somewhere, is helping with that. And we're just thankful that this camp is happening. We still have a few more spaces in it that we're trying to fill with teens, and this is open to the entire community, including we are trying to contact and get people and kids from good service organizations around our community, like Sharing House, El Centro, Habitat for Humanity, Rise and Shine. And so just keep these teens and us in your thoughts, and we hope to have a great camp for our community. Thanks.
thank you, Kevin. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing the Reverend Jim Moseley. He's a native Floridian, having grown up upon the Space Coast of Brevard County, Florida. He and Susan Moseley moved to Brevard, North Carolina in March of 2024 from the northern neck of the Chesapeake Bay. They met in grad school while attending the Presbyterian School of Christian Education. Later, Jim would finish his seminary degree in Louisville, Kentucky. Jim's work in ministry has been varied. He's served as a youth director, camp director, pastor and associate pastor, coordinator of long-term disaster recovery, executive presbyter coach, chaplain, and presently in an interim ministry. He and Susan have children and grandchildren living nearby and bought their home in Brevard only after finding the UUTC church and determining to locate as near as possible. When not filling pulpits elsewhere, Jim happily attends the UUTC with Susan and helps out with our grounds crew. So we're very happy to hear from him this morning for the first time. Let us center ourselves in worship as Michael gives our prelude. Thank you, Michael. For our chalice lighting this morning, it's entitled Let There Be Light by Andrew Pakula. Let there be light, the light of joy, the light of happiness, and the light of contentment. May it illuminate our paths and fill our lives with peace. And let there be dark, for it is from our dark places that we are brought forward, tried and tested, and impelled toward growth. It is in these places that we realize compassion and learn to love. And there was day, and there was night, and there was joy, and there was sorrow, and it was good. It's time for us to light candles for our joys and sorrows, to recognize people who have these needs today. Our first one is from Nancy Richards, with thanks for all the wonderful leaders, volunteers, and friends who make this community great. From Marilyn Miller, Bonnie and I went to Sylvan Manor to visit Barbara Janowitz, where she is recuperating from a broken hip. I'm sure she would appreciate visitors. A candle for those dealing with COVID and other illnesses in our congregation. And a joy, thank you, Chelsea and Tricia, for fixing the AC. And we're going to light one more candle for those joys or sorrows that are left unspoken today, and for those online who have joys and sorrows. Make sure you speak to those you can in the coffee hour afterwards to offer your support. Our opening words this morning are a responsive reading. The words will be on the screen. You guys are in the yellow. We have not even to risk the adventure alone. Have gone before us. The labyrinth is thoroughly known. And where we had thought to find an abomination, we shall find a God. We will come to the center of our own existence. Where we had thought to be alone, we shall be with all the world. Our opening hymn this morning is number 126, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. The words will be on the screen, and please stand as you can.
Our wisdom story from today comes from the Soul Matters curriculum, and it's a old Chinese folktale adapted by April Rosario. Well, long ago in China, there lived a young boy named Ma Ling. And Ma Ling was a good-hearted, kind boy, but he and his community, his family, were all very poor together. And Ma Ling loved to paint more than anything else, but he had nothing to paint with. They were too poor to even afford a paintbrush, so he just used sticks to draw on the sand and make beautiful, amazing paintings using his imagination, or sometimes just draw in the air to make something come alive to him. Well, one night he had a dream where an old woman appeared to him and brought him a paintbrush. And the old woman said, "Use this paintbrush with your imagination to help others in need." Well, in the morning, he woke up and there was a paintbrush next to him. And he was very interested, excited, and maybe even a little fearful about what this could do. But he raised the paintbrush and he drew in the air and he drew a bird, and the bird came to life and flew off. Then he drew a fish over here, and the fish came to life and jumped into the river and swam away. Well, Ma Ling got very excited about using his paintbrush and remembered what the ancient lady told him: use it for others to help them. So he started doing that. He drew water falling from the sky to help the farmers, and drew tools to help the poor villagers to farm the land. He drew a well to help villagers who did not have water and needed it so they could draw up the water to drink. Well, he kept drawing and helping people, and of course, as these things go, the story of his magical abilities and his magic paintbrush reached a greedy emperor. And the greedy emperor demanded him to come here, and Ma Ling went into his court, and the emperor said, "Draw me riches and gold and everything I want." Well, Ma Ling knew he shouldn't do this, so he didn't. So he was promptly thrown into jail, or maybe we should call it detention. And with that, the emperor grabbed the paintbrush and started painting all these things himself. But nothing would come to life for the emperor because he lacked the imagination to help others. So finally, he called Ma Ling again and said, "I will let you out of prison if you draw me what I want." Ma Ling didn't want to do this. He knew what would happen with it. But he had an idea, and he said, "Okay, well, tell me what you want." And the emperor said, "Draw me a golden mountain so I can go there and get the gold." And Ma Ling said, "Okay, this might take a little while. That's a big request, but I'll start." And first he started by drawing an ocean and painting an ocean. And then, far off in the ocean, he drew the golden mountain. Well, the emperor came to look, and he was so angry, and he said, "Draw me a huge boat to sail there right away." So Ma Ling drew him a boat. The emperor jumped on the boat and sailed to the Golden Mountain. When he reached the Golden Mountain, Ma Ling drew a hole in the boat so that the emperor could never sail back, and thus the people of the land were freed. And so in this time when we're dealing with evil and greedy emperors, what our community needs is our imagination so that we can help all those around us, and together we can solve our problems. So thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. It's time for us to support our congregation and our community. Our service outreach this month is the Dignity Project. So if you have contributions, please put them in the envelope that you'll find in the basket. The ushers will come forward and will now take the offering.
Don't give up the ship, even when you feel it's sinking and you don't know what to do. Don't give up your dream, even you may be thinking it never will come true. Life has its own ideas of how things come about, and if you'll just hang in there, life is gonna work it out. Help is on the way from places you don't know about today, from friends you may not have met yet. Believe me when I say I know help is on the way. You don't have to know where the path you're on is leading. You just have to walk along, dreaming as you go, asking for the things you're needing. You never will go wrong if you have faith that things are happening as they should, and just believe each step you take is leading you to something good. Help is on the way from places you don't know about today, from friends you may not have met yet. Believe me when I say I know help is on the way. So open your heart, open your mind. No matter how you've tried and failed, tomorrow you may turn and find that help is on the way from places you don't know about today, from friends you may not have met yet. Believe me when I say I know help is on the way. 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 Help is on the way.
For your kind and generous gifts, we thank you. Please center yourself for our reflection meditation this morning. It's entitled The Richness of Our Differences by Julianne Lepp. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May we be reminded that all beings are whole, sacred, and worthy. Let our hearts be welcoming of multiple truths, not holding hard or fast to closed-mindedness or judgmental thinking. What can we learn from each other in the richness of our differences? May the heart of compassion help us recognize the sacred in each other and bridge differences in these challenging times. May each of us be held in relationship, accountability, and the power of beloved community. For those people who are suffering from illness and accidents, we let our hearts go out to them, especially those who have COVID, and Barbara Janowitz, where she's recuperating from a broken hip. We also extend our joy to those for the AC and for the wonderful leaders, volunteers, and friends who make this community great. Now let us sit in silence for a minute. Blessed be.
That's a little sampling.
Perfect tempo.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say the first song that we sang was by a guy I went to graduate school named David Friedman. And this is by a wonderful singer-songwriter called Carrie Newcomer. How many of you ever heard of Carrie Newcomer? Ah, we got to get her here.
Yeah, big fan base.
Yeah.
Let our hearts not be hardened to those living on the margins. There is room at the table for everyone. This is where it all begins. This is how we gather in. There is room at the table for everyone. Oh, too long we have wandered, burdened and undone, but there is room at the table for everyone. This is where it all begins. Let us sing the new world in. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, there is room at the table for everyone. And now we can be a beloved community. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room for us all, and no gift is too small. There is room at the table for everyone. There's enough if we share. Come on, pull up a chair. There is room at the table for everyone. Let our hearts not be hardened to those living on the margins. There is room at the table for everyone. This is where it all begins. This is how we gather in. There is room at the table for everyone. everyone. There is room at the table for everyone. There is room at the table for everyone. Oh, yeah.
First off, thank you for the opportunity to be here and to speak this morning. It means a lot to me to be here. And in the introductory portion, it's true, Susan and I moved to Brevard in March of 2024, and we did find the church first and thought, well, we can find the church, then we'll figure out the neighborhood and find our home. And some of you know that you can stand on the edge of this property and chunk a rock right into our front yard. So it worked out beautifully, and it worked out perfectly, and so we're very glad to be here. I also kindly, it was mentioned, there are so many things that I've enjoyed over the years I've served with church and agencies. And one thing I've learned, particularly about you folks and about being here, is of all the skills that you bring, if you are a weed puller, if you can pull weeds and spread mulch, you are in high demand everywhere that you go. But I've enjoyed worshiping and attending with Susan because it is the nature of the UU Fellowship, and it is your nature to be a people of great spiritual curiosity and people who are looking for deep thought and mindfulness and looking for authenticity and for belonging. And I can't speak entirely for Susan, but I've enjoyed finding all of those gifts here. So it's been my delight to be here. And I know there are people from different traditions and faiths and denominations, but your openness has always helped me feel welcome. Yeah, I'm getting a signal when I'm gonna, okay, yes, I'm gonna speak in a little bit and I'm gonna jump to this mic. Let's see how that goes. That's better? Well, I won't start over. I'll keep on going. I'll keep going. Okay. So thinking about the fellowship got me thinking, and this title, The Three Little Pigs, it is in fact a fable that comes from a long, long time ago, but I've been doing some research. I think maybe the genesis of the story actually comes from one of the books in the scriptures of the New Testament. I'm just suggesting that that may be the case, for there is a book in the New Testament, the book of Corinthians, which tells of conflicts that just were inevitable during those early first century church. They were quarreling over leadership and doctrine and dogma, and they were jealous of one another and their positions. And so I think I found the genesis of this Three Little Pigs in the book of Corinthians, and I'm going to read just a portion of that text for you to get us started. The book is Corinthians. It's from the 3rd chapter. Listen now for a word of wisdom. These are the words of Paul. Of all people you would ask to settle a conflict, Paul is probably the last one that you would want to bring in, because Paul had his own issues around ego and such. He writes to the Corinthian people who are in some distress, according to the grace of God given to me, like a skilled master builder, I laid a foundation. Yet another will come and will build upon it, so let each one take care of how they build upon it. Now, if one builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, or straw, each person's work will become manifest, For the day will release it, because it will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test what sort of work each one has done. Sounds familiar. So may we be blessed with the insight to understand these words, and more so with the courage to undertake them. Amen. You know the story. It goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a mother pig, and she lived in a farm with her 3 or 4 piglets or so. And as the story goes, they grew up, and it came the time that they had to be sent off into the world to find their way, to discover their path. And she prepared for them probably a little bit of food and maybe some coin or two, and she sent them on their way beyond the farmyard into the great big world. And as they began that trip together, they were going down the road, and you know the story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So they're walking together side by side, and they go by a man, and he is selling a straw, baled straw. Now, one little pig said, I know that straw would make a great, comfortable place to bed down for the night. And straw was inexpensive. And he just took the opportunity early in the day to buy as much of the straw as he could. And halfway through the afternoon, already had built a wonderful little home, comfy and soft and cozy, and still pocketed a lot of the money he'd been given. Well, the second little pig goes along and finds someone selling sticks and thinks, well, sticks, that's a little substantial, and they're creative. You can do something nice and clever, and it'll take a little sweat and effort, but it won't be too hard. It won't be too much, and I can do something nice. It'll look nice. And bought all the sticks. It took most of the rest of the day and into the next day, but built a wonderful, attractive home and was pretty pleased with himself. Third little pig, this is always the good little pig. The third little pig goes down the street, and of course, there is someone selling bricks. And the third little pig thinks, bricks. Oh, that would make such a great material for a really, really nice home. But bricks are expensive. They cost a lot. And if I'm going to do this, I'm going to need to get help. I'm going to need some masons and some carpenters. And this is going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And I'm going to have to commit to it and see it through and supervise it. And I may go raise more money, but whatever it is, I think if this is the kind of home I want, of substance, something really that I can be living in, and it'll be long lasting, I'll make the commitment. And this little pig bought the bricks and put the workers to work, and they began, and he knew it would take some long time to finish, but that was okay. He was committed to building a really substantial home. Now, the 3 little pigs all worked nearby in the same town, and they would get together from time to time after work, and as friends do, they would just talk about events of the day. They'd get back and throw back a big mug of root beer, and they'd talk about sports, they talk about weather, but sometimes they would actually talk about church, which is interesting. The first little pig said, church? I don't go to church. When we were little pigs, remember how it was that every single Sunday we had to get up and get scrubbed and cleaned to get out to church, and half the time there were midweek services and there were all these other activities. I am just exhausted with the whole thing. I don't go to church at all. I don't darken the door to church. And in fact, now that I've had my job for a while and I bought my new Harley Hog, I like to spend my free days just traveling through the countryside, enjoying the beauty. And the second little pig said, church, let me tell you about my church. I have found the church of churches. It is the Tabernacle Church of Praise and Porcine Prosperity. It is amazing. It's the biggest church in 3 counties. We got 14 choirs. We have basketball courts and baseball courts. We got everything you could ever think of. And Pastor Portly Pig, he's amazing. He's a great preacher. People love him and they come flocking to hear him. He travels and goes and speaks all over the place. This is a dynamic church. They have a nursery for piggies, and after school for piglets, and they have yoga for porkers, and there's something for everybody at this church. And I am just psyched. This is an awesome place. And the third little pig said, oh, goodness, I can't say that my church is anything like that. But he said, I found a place that I'm attending right now. And all I can tell you right now is that the hospitality is amazing. All kinds of people. People take time. I'm getting to know folks. I'm learning about myself. I'm learning about them, and they're active in the community. And this is a place I want to learn more about. So I'm going to stay with it for a while and decide if this is where I need to be. Well, from time to time they get together, and of course, one of the times the first little pig said, well, I got to the Christmas and Easter service last year just to please Mom. And the second pig said, oh, the worst thing has happened. We just had a mess at the Tabernacle of Praise and Porcine Prosperity. I mean, Pastor Portly Pig preached the sermon, and people just got upset with him. He just went off on some crazy tangent, and I mean, people got up and they walked out, and now we're having a committee to come in and discuss conflict, and everything is just falling apart there, and the yoga class was canceled. I don't know. He said, I'm just beside I don't know what to make of all of this. And the third little pig said, well, in just a few weeks, I made the decision to unite with the fellowship I've been attending. And I actually have to go to class, and I have to reflect on this, and we're trying to discern rightly what my gifts might be and what the future might be for me as part of this fellowship. And you would think the story would end there, but of course it doesn't, because this is the story of the three little pigs, and the big character we're waiting for is, of course, the big bad wolf. Now, in the story, this wolf is a beast. I mean, with jaws and claws and a hunger for pigs, and is a predatory creature, right? This is the wolf. This is the figure that we all fear as children, and the wolf. We even have a saying, the wolf is at the door. In times of poverty and of times of trial, we think of the wolf as the one who comes to take from us, to steal from us our heart, our whatever it is we have. And so, it's not too hard a stretch to see this wolf as that part of our lives when something that we treasure and love is in jeopardy. And sometimes it can be something just as a job that we've had. It's an income, it's a source, it's a way we provide for our others, and sometimes that job goes away. Sometimes it's when a family just comes unglued. It can be a conflict, it can be a sibling rivalry, it can be a divorce, but something that we've treasured gets shattered. Sometimes it's when we learn that we have an illness and it can't be treated, and it is going to, over time, it's going to take our lives. But this wolf character is not unfamiliar to us. This wolf is part of our lives. And in the story, the way the wolf comes into the play is, of course, the wolf comes along and goes to the home of the first little pig, which is the house that's made of bales of straw. And he says, little pig, let me come in. And what does the pig say? Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. And then the wolf says, I'll huff and I'll puff, and I'll do this maybe once or twice. And I'll your house in, right? And it's true. This flimsy little straw house is really not well put together. And with one big huff and puff, the wolf blows the straw to smithereens, and it just swirls around in the air, and it's just gone. And there's the little pig running around back and forth, fearful for his life. Where do I go? The only place he can think of is to his brother pig. And he races as quickly as he can to brother pig in the house of sticks. And he gets there and he says, brother pig, close the door, lock the door. The The wolf is on its way. It's gonna carry us away. It's gonna eat us. And the pigs bars the door, and they shove the sofa and the cupboard against it, and they just wait for the wolf. And the wolf comes and says, little pig, let me come in. And the two little pigs do not by the hair, right, chinny chin chin. And the wolf says, well, then I'll huff and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in. And it takes a few puffs. It takes a few huffs. But the wolf is determined and huffs and puffs, and the house begins to shake. And he huffs and he puffs, and next thing the roof blows off the house, and huffs and puffs, and the walls cave in, and they're the two little pigs in the midst of all this lumber and sticks and everything, and they know the wolf is on them, and they have to race to find safety. And where can they go? There's only one place they can imagine to go that they'll be safe, and they race to the home of Brother Pig, the third little pig, and they knock on the door, and they're frightened and scared, and they say, Brother Pig, let us in. The wolf is coming. He's going to grab us and take us and eat us and everything. And the third little pig hears the knocking, goes to the door and opens up, says, come in, come in, come in. Locks the door behind him and says, have a seat. Just breathe. Just breathe here. Says, no, the wolf's coming. He's going to carry us away. And the third little pig says, I think not. I think not. In fact, sit down and calm yourselves. I'll put a pot on. We'll have some tea. And they're just panicked still. And here comes the wolf. And the wolf knocks on the door. Little pig, let me come in. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. And the third little pig says, give it all you got. Give it all you got. Come on. And that wolf starts to huffing and puffing and huffs and puffs and puffs and huffs. And no matter how much he strains and how much he threatens and how much he blows and how much the dust around the house just swirls around, the house is unshaken. It's as solid as it can be. For this is the house that was built with love, was built at high cost, with great labor, and at a great price. But it is a house that is safe, and it is secure, and is a place that he can care for his brothers. This is the kind of house that we're to build. Now, we can play with all the metaphors here, but let me tell you how it affects a preacher who's done a lot of pastoring over time. You know, there are people who come into fellowship, and their commitment is, quite honestly, kind of flimsy, like a bale of straw. You know, straw is nice, it's comfortable, it's cozy, and they love all of that about the fellowship. But you know, the other thing about straw is that it's incendiary. It goes up in a flash. And there are folks who come into fellowship, and they are kind of incendiary personalities. It just doesn't take a lot to set them ablaze. They can be reactive types. They can kind of be the people who give you ultimatums. You know, they're just still at a point in their life and in their faith and in they're just still a bit flimsy. And they're people who are part of who we are, every fellowship. And there are people that I think of in the fellowship who are like the house made of sticks. I mean, on the outside, they're charming. You know, they like it when everything's going well. But not a lot of substance on the inside. And I think of those as people that I've experienced. I kind of think of them as brittle personalities. You know, sometimes they are the ones that throw out ultimatums. You know, if it's not my way, if it doesn't go down this way, then rather than the ability to flex, to bend, they snap. They just snap because they're just so tightly and so tensely put together, they have little ability to move and to sway with the fellowship. And then there are those folks we think of who are of substance, people who are so solid and thoughtful and mindful. And they're the people who remind us all the time that what we're doing here is building something remarkable. We're not trying to build with the least expense of all. We're not trying to make it so it looks good to everyone. We're working to build something here that's of absolute substance, that will last, that will endure. Because what we build is the foundation. There will be others coming behind us, and they will build on what you accomplish. And here's the truth in the world today. There are people looking for a fellowship. They're looking for a household of spirit and nourishment. They're looking for a place of honest inquiry and authenticity. They're looking for a place of belonging. And they have looked and they have gone and they have been, some have been dismayed and disparaged. Some have not been welcome. And some have nearly given up. But they're still willing to come and look and see and find a place. See, you're that place. You're that place. A mindful, hospitable fellowship which continues to generate hope and affection. So, however the fellowship grows, whatever it becomes, whatever you may do, today or tomorrow down the road, the moral of the story is just this. Whatever you do and however you do it with the best that you have. And absolutely nothing less than that. The very best that you have. Amen. So let it be. So let it be. Amen. Amen.
Our final hymn today is number 1029, Love Knocks and Waits for Us to Hear. Please stand as you will. Love knocks and waits for us to hear, and invite. Love longs to quiet every fear, and seeks to set things right. Love is life in spite of those who hesitate. On down, embracing enemies of us, the second love we have. Love comes to heal the broken heart, to ease the troubled mind. Without a word, love leads us down to ask and seek and find. Love knocks and enters at the sound of welcome from within. Love seeks and tastes all around and feels life begin.
This is a partial benediction from way, way back, and I send you with these words. Go forth into the world in peace. Be of good courage. Hold fast to what is good. Render no one evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted, support the weak, and show love to everyone. Let it be so.
Thank you.